The damage from a tornado that touched down there right around 3:30. You can see her driving right now. The rain's still coming down. They're just getting into that more intense rain band, so the rain's going to pick up for them probably over the next 10 minutes and be a little bit more difficult to drive in. The roads are definitely wet. There was a lot of standing water when I was coming into work today, and these rain bands, you know, they're not as steady as the ones that we had earlier today with the flash flood warnings, but there's definitely still a lot of rain coming down. That's been an issue for us, and here's the latest on our tornadoes reported today. We have had 5 tornadoes likely, and there are 2 that are kind of right in the same areas that we're watching in the Ingleside, Rocky Ford area. That's where we had likely 2 that touched down in that area. The Lewisburg tornado, the Lucama tornado, which unfortunately was the one with the fatality, our first tornado fatality since April 16th, 2011 in our viewing area. So really heartbreaking news this morning. And the Harrell's tornado happened yesterday. So we've had at least 5 tornadoes, possibly 6. We'll watch to see how the Rocky Mount situation plays out. The National Weather Service will be out surveying, boots on the ground, all of these situations tomorrow. So all the areas that we have the tornadoes and the ones that are a bit more question marks as to whether or not a tornado touched down, they'll give us those answers, and then we'll get the EF rating of each tornado tomorrow as well. A reminder, a tornado watch is in effect for our area until 8 o'clock. And boy, it's been a busy day as we've tracked these tornado warnings for you. There have now been over 20 in our viewing area today alone, and we still have these rain bands that are going to be rotating in. We do expect a lull in some of the rain bands later tonight, but we'll have an update for you on what to expect during the overnight hours on WRAL News at 11. We'll sit back, do a full forecast together, meteorologist Mike Mays and myself, look at all the ingredients in the atmosphere and let you know if we expect to see any issues during the overnight hours. That was a big concern last night, and unfortunately, we saw a lot of those tornado warnings come out while people were sleeping overnight. Deborah and Gerald.
All right, Kat, thank you. Well, we have live team coverage of this tropical storm, now tropical depression, up in the Wilson County area where we saw 1 man has died. A school was badly damaged. Several homes have been damaged as well.
We did have Dan Haggerty out there getting ready to go live, and then this latest tornado warning happened. Dan, are you with us?
I am. I've been listening to the warnings just like everybody else. Obviously, this has been a community that has been hit very hard by this weather. We've seen tragedy here, lives lost, a man who was killed. We saw an issue with many homes as the tornado has moved through. And of course, the middle school back behind me here that has the roof torn from it. So a lot of people in this community are trying to figure out exactly what the beginning of the school year is going to look like. And as you look at the images that we've been looking at all day, it's very difficult to imagine that this school will be a part of it. We talked to a county commissioner today who was being hopeful, hoping that some of the rooms would be available for students while other rooms may not. But it's just hard to believe that when you think about the HVAC issues, the problems they may have with mold, a lot of different problems that really cannot be answered at this point. I do want to bring in WRAL's Chelsea Donovan. She's been out here focusing on that part of the story today. It was interesting. We had a former principal from the school pull up today, stand here with us, and couldn't believe his eyes.
Yeah, this is a school that was built, 24 years ago in 2000. There are 475 middle school students that attend here. And as you mentioned, it's sort of up in the air. They're supposed to start on August 26th, but that's really up in the air. We've seen all day long portable generators being brought in, AC units. Let's show you some of that video that we shot earlier from Drone 5, and you could really see what the governor called basically an explosion. He mentioned when he talked to us earlier during his news conference, you could see bricks scattered about, yellow insulation everywhere, chairs and books just strewn about as well. And what's interesting is that he noted that when he walked in part of the building, the 6th and 7th grade wing were kind of obliterated, but the 8th grade wing was kind of virtually untouched. Take a listen to some of the remarks that he made, having been inside this building for 17 years.
I know that that's the 7th grade wing that we can see here, and then where the truck is the 6th grade wing, and a lot of memories of good kids, good teachers in those wings that which is making it again tough to sit here and look at it.
Yeah, it's interesting. We talked to some neighbors across the street, and it was almost like Governor Cooper said, it was like targeted because this school got obliterated. And then you go across the street here, Keith, if you can kind of pan over there, absolutely nothing. They were so thankful that they were untouched. And we should mention, you know, this is a school that houses more than 500 students, not to mention staff. And a note that it was summertime and school not in session, just really a blessing all around.
Right. A lot of families, though, left unclear as to what the beginning of the school year will look like. And while a tornado, of course, does miss a lot of homes, it hits many, many others. And we have seen that throughout this community. Tragically, a man lost his life in the storm. We are going to continue to cover that angle as well as all of the other lives that were affected out here. In the meantime, we'll send things into the WRAL Live Center and Brian Schrader. Brian.
Dan, not too far from where you're standing, I want to check in on Rocky Mount, taking a look at that live camera out at Rocky Mount Mills. Of course, they've been dealing with tornado warnings today. And just in the past 20 minutes or so, we've gotten some new pictures of some flooding in the northern part of Rocky Mount. This is on South Hornbeam Drive. It backs up to Hornbeam Branch, which apparently is coming over its banks. You can see that it is pretty high, that water level there in that neighborhood. Also want to update you on a situation developing in the southern part of Moore County. Earlier this afternoon, Moore County Sheriff's deputies were going door to door along 690 there, right around the McPherson Road area and the Crane Creek area, telling people that they might want to consider evacuating because of some erosion at the Wood Lake Dam. I want to show you some video that we just got into the WRAL Live Center of some of that flooding. They're concerned about erosion around that dam and perhaps the temporary dam there failing. No indication of anything imminent that could happen there, but they are offering that to people. They've opened a shelter not too far from there so that people along Highway 690 there around Crane Creek and the Little River have a place to go that is safe.
All right, Brian, thank you. 3 children in Wake County are safe after being rescued from a rushing creek today. They were hanging from a tree branch when one of their friends called 911.
WRAL's Sean Gallagher arrived there shortly after rescue teams pulled out the children, and he had a live interview with them during our earlier coverage. The children involved told him the water was slow when they tried to cross, but things changed instantaneously, putting 3 of them in danger.
Are you coming back up here?
As Tropical Storm Debbie moved across our area, rivers and creeks surged, putting these 3 kids at risk.
Okay, got 3 children, all under the age of 12, in the middle of the creek in some very fast, swift-moving water.
The water started getting super, super rough.
Evelyn, Kelly, Emma, Gavin, and Andrew say they were on a bike ride and came to this crossing at Marsh Creek.
When me and Emma, when we crossed, it was fine. We were fine one minute. We were all like joking and laughing. And then the next minute, Andrew comes sliding down and they all follow. And then they're like yelling.
Right now, they're hanging onto a tree.
Right as I grabbed it, I just started, the water just pulled me right away and the branch snapped. I just started sliding and then I grabbed the other large branch.
At 11 years old, Andrew had to hang on to his 8-year-old sister, Evelyn, and their 10-year-old friend, Kelly.
I was praying because I knew that God could save me. So I made sure that I stayed calm because I knew the rescue team would be able to save us.
Dozens of firefighters got to the scene to try and help with the rescue, and within 5 minutes,
Man, 3rd child safely in the boat.
a sigh of relief.
I have a lot of emotions. I'm very relieved, I'm very happy, and I'm just very grateful that everyone's safe and we had all of these rescue members here to help us.
Isn't that great that they were able to take that happy picture at the end of such a harrowing ordeal?
And they've learned a lesson.
Oh, no doubt about that. They've got a story to tell, too, for years to come.
All right, our continuing coverage of tropical depression, Debbie, will continue after the break here on WRAL. We'll go back to the Severe Weather Center and give you the latest updates on this storm path.